front of you.
I've got something. Does anyone else have anything? Can you go to the HTML lesson?
Yeah.
And go down to the exercise?
Yep.
So I've gone to that repository, forked it, cloned it, and I've got it open right here.
Okay.
So when I open up mockup 1, I feel retarded. Because I don't know what to do with it from here.
Okay.
I think I do, maybe I don't. So I went to VSC, opened a new HTML page, pasted in my boilerplate.
Sounds good to me so far.
But now what? Like how on the mock-up sketch it had the buttons. Do I go to like, it had the arrows?
All you would need to do to copy that mock-up is create maybe like a paragraph tag,
Okay.
and then I thought I just minimized that. Okay, galvanize contact information. Holy, come on. Let me close out of this. There we go. So VS Code, galvanize contact information. Hey, what's up?
Okay.
Hello. Blah, blah, blah. So now let's open this. Oh my god, my server's still running. Get out of there. Where is this entirely new? Entirely new, ls, and example, right? So again, this is only for Apple as far as I know, the open command. You might,
Touch, right?
touch would create it. So if I typed in touch index HTML, it should create another one, but it might not because it knows it's already there. So if I type in touch 1, now it creates it. So touch creates. What you might be able to do is type in the name of your browser. So my browser is Opera. If I type in Opera it says command not found. How to open HTML file. Oh, I googled start. So okay, maybe that would work on Windows. Yeah. Start. There we go. Open. Nobody in here is on Linux, so there you go. If you're on Windows, try start. CMD should only work in the shell, in PowerShell. It shouldn't work in Bash, but maybe it will. I generally say try start first.
Are you still recording this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll do open because I'm on Mac. Holy camole, man. So the reason I spazzed out there is because I forgot I created this file, so I'm just going to remove it real quick. RM remove. Now when I list my selections and I do open and I hit tab, there's only one possible thing. Okay, so we don't have the proper formatting. So what we'll do is we'll create a, this could probably stay as a p tag, honestly, and then what we could do is put this up into here, and then open another p tag, and then move this up there. And then we'll have a line break. You don't need this, but that's what does this. So I'm not sure off the top of my head how they get this indented. I need to start closing my tabs when I'm done with them. how to indent HTML. It still works. The block quote. So the pre-tag forces the browser to display text formatted the way you typed it. That sounds pretty good to me. Pre, still there. So enter, it looks like it doesn't want to close it. Let's test this. And I refresh the wrong page. There you go. So oddly enough, I noticed it actually changed the font. I don't think this is the same font. So maybe there's a reason they don't use this anymore, because it changes the font. So people want to like keep consistent font. But there you go. Like, I actually didn't know myself, so I kind of just showed you my problem-solving process of like, if I didn't know how to do this, what would I do in order to figure out how to do this? And all I did was type in how to indent HTML, because I knew that was my problem, because I came in here and I actually didn't even need a p tag. If I just start typing, it'll still display that. It's not like it's going to break it. But my problem is, like, if I come in here and I try to indent it myself, it doesn't do that. So my problem isn't displaying the text, my problem was indenting the text. So that's when I came over here and I said how to indent HTML. And then I found this post and I just read through a little bit. It said you can use the block quote or you can use the pre-tag. Yeah, pre-tag's easy. Just go with what's easy and usable for you now. Don't try to recreate the wheel. Like, if the pre-tag does what you want it to do, just use the pre-tag. Nobody's going to be like judging you because you use the pre-tag at this moment. Like, we're just learning. We're not having to worry about creating the most secure server in the world. We're just trying to get our HTML files off the ground, right? So for all intents and purposes, we could just go ahead and just throw pre, hit enter, and now if I hold Alt, this works on every OS, and just hit down, 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 I just throw all that text in between those tabs, and then I save that. And now when I refresh it, see it changes the font for some reason. But now we have it properly formatted the same exact way. It's actually indented 3 times. So if I come over here, we have 1, 2, well, it's actually spaces. So it's not doing tabs, it's actually spacing it out. And we could see that because my blue highlight is incrementing in those spaces that are there. But we could see in my IDE, oh, thank you. I'm using an extension called bracket pair colorizer. So this helps a lot with proper HTML indentation. I'm so glad you got me into this, because now I can show you guys my extensions. So we don't need to worry about recommended. This is awesome. I love the bracket pair colorizer because it not only works with HTML, but it works with CSS and JavaScript. So super duper recommended. Let me get rid of that. Don't need that anymore.
I'm not done yet.
Okay. Awesome. Please download this. We have the boilerplate already. Indent rainbow. This is another one. Awesome. This is the one I was thinking of. So this is what's having my colors on my indents change, is the indent rainbow. What's having my brackets change in my JS, so when we start getting all squirrely and we're down here and we have this opening and then this one opening and then this opens, you can see I have, this is yellow, this is purple, this is blue. That's what the bracket pair colorizer does. So this is colorizing all those opening and closing braces, so that way I know where they open and close. This is colorizing my indents like this, so that way I know how many indents in I am so far. Let's see what other ones, and that's all I have that would be pertinent for you guys. So if you want to help yourself out while you're programming, indent rainbow, bracket pair colorizer, and maybe even beautify. You don't need to use beautify, but if you could get like a really ugly file, you can use it with Control-Shift-P, Command-Shift-P on Mac. And we see if you download this extension, you get this little snippet that comes up here. And now if you click on this, it formats everything for you automatically. Now I already had everything formatted perfectly, so it didn't do anything. But if it wasn't formatted perfectly, it would indent it appropriately so that it was the correct way. I'm trying to think, do I have like an ugly file somewhere I can show you guys? I want to show you guys it working. There we go. You can see it moved a couple things, right? It does some stuff for you that everybody considers to be like proper programming practice. So this isn't explicitly needed, but maybe you want to download this to help you out. It's used with JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, which just so happens to be what we're using. Cool. So now that we've gone over the extensions, we can go back. Don't need to save any of my changes. Those were all examples. I can redo everything I did today, no problem. So the reason I started talking about this is I can tell that the pre-tag is reading these indents, even though this is like the proper HTML syntax is to indent as you keep opening tags. I noticed that it seems to also be reading the indents here. So if I wanted to simulate that this, where it has like no indent and then one indent, I'm guessing, based on my intuition, that all I would need to do is just bring this in one. There you go.
Can you go back to that sketch right quick?
Yeah. I'm going to bring...
We're not building that page, we're just...
No, yes. I had a feeling that maybe you were getting a little confused on that when you brought this up, because I remember you messaged me about the mock-ups. Yeah, we're not expecting you to create a new window, so I apologize if that wasn't clear. Yeah, because if you wanted to create a new window in JavaScript, you would have to do window.open, not in capital letters, window.infinity, open, we'll call it.
Okay.
So I didn't create a new browser. It's just creating a new window. So like if you wanted to create a new one of like these, like where this is gray and this is outlined, you would need to download the Chromium engine. You would need to put it inside of a browser. Like that's what would be required to create a new browser. We don't want you to create a new browser. That we're just talking about what's inside this white space here. Yeah.
Perfect. Good to go.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So then at this point, now that we've confirmed how the pre-tag works, we do galvanize contact information. We know how oh, I can't. How would you, how could you input that? Now we know how I'm just gonna tags work. Cool. Yeah, there you go. So that would be that one. The next one is a div, I think, or like an image.
That's an image.
Yep. So here, this looks like it's bigger text, so this would be a header. If you weren't sure, you could do like HTML big text maybe. This is called ASCII art, if you're curious. I'm not going to get into why it's called ASCII art. You can just take my word for it. So there's a big tag, bigger text. It's not supported in HTML5. Use CSS instead. So this doesn't really give us anything to go off of.
The easiest way to get around that would be to use the header.
Yeah.
H1, H2, H3.
Exactly, yeah. So unfortunately, this seems like something you would kind of have to know off the bat. Luckily for us, H1s are like extremely rudimentary and basic. So these all, I'll show you the difference. As a matter of fact, why not just copy and paste because it's all HTML. So when we go in here, so H1 is huge all the way down to H6 is smaller. And I didn't change anything, like this is literally just the way the tags work. If you want to indent multiple things, just highlight them and then you can just hit tab. Same way you can hold shift. So all I'm doing is holding shift and then I hit tab, it goes back. So I can highlight them all, tab, 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 holding shift, tab, 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 and it goes back. So that's a really quick and easy way to format your text. If you messed it up and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, this might be a good time where you can come in and you can click beautify and then it does everything for you. So it looks like for all intents and purposes we could probably use an H1. So I will erase the rest of those. Cool. And there's a giant box. So we could go about this several ways. We could do an image tag, and then we could say height 500 pixels, width 500 pixels, and we'll close that. Well, let's just save that and see what that looks like. So it's a little big. So let's make it a little smaller, 250. Okay. That's really what this mockup is saying. Is like this just needs to be like some sort of containing element or some sort of like, this could be a div too if I wanted. An image tag is just easier to get off the ground with quickly, but if I did div and I did the same thing, height equals 250 pixels, width equals 500 pixels, and then I'll do style, and then I'll do a background color, and I'll do blue. Close that, and I'll refresh the wrong page. Yeah, for whatever reason my div doesn't show up, so I think I would need to go into CSS and actually associate these values. I don't think it's not that my div tag is here, it's just not giving it any width for some reason. So if I went into CSS and I associated these values, I'm pretty sure it would work, but just like to quickly get off the ground, you can simply just throw in an image tag and just have it, you just associate the height and the width. I think the reason these aren't working is because the div tag doesn't actually have these attributes. So if we look up image element, we'll just look up image element. Down here, the attributes that innately come with this element is height, so we have height, and then we have width. Cool. I'm guessing when we go to div, we're not going to see that. So that's why that didn't work. Correct. So why did I bring that up? Because height and width are recognized by the computer in HTML and an image element tag, because we have these attributes here as listed by W3 schools. This didn't work, even though I know I can make it work in CSS, because it doesn't have these attributes. So I would need to go into CSS, so I would need to go into style, and I would need to say height 500 pixels, width 500 pixels. So again, that was CSS, that wasn't HTML. This is HTML. HTML didn't work on the div tag, but divs are awesome with CSS. That's one thing, is like if you want to just go nuts with CSS, divs are great because they can kind of actually take place of images, because then we could do background image, and we can go and find a puppy picture, my favorite. We'll do this one. Background image, make sure to put a semicolon. Refresh the page, change the color back. Oh gosh darn. Make sure it's all good. Cool. Oh, what's it complaining about? This might not be possible inline styling. So this again kind of highlights the reason why we maybe want to use a CSS file. So that's why I use the image tag. It's a little bit easier, like I said, to get off the ground with. So if we come in here, we just type in src, and then we paste in that, and we accidentally open a new tab. And we just completed the second one. If you wanted to have a little subtext here, you could do, oh man, I forget it. I know strong is one, but there's like italics. Oh man, I won't waste time on.
Photo caption underneath it.
Yeah, for the photo caption, this is a caption save. What's that? Emphasize? Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, thank you. There you go. So you'll come to find you remember some HTML tags. I don't expect anybody to remember all of them, but you will remember some. So that's good. And that's the second challenge. So yeah, don't create a new browser. Go through and recreate the mock-ups and try your best to just using what you know, recreate these images. So these are going to be using divs, and if you want it to look exactly like this, it would probably be easier to use CSS. So just keep that in mind. But also don't get too caught up on making these perfect. Like these don't need to be exact. So I'll excuse you guys if you guys want to go. I'll keep recording and then I'll show how you can do all that stuff in CSS on this third one, and I'll upload that. But you guys are free to go if you want. I won't keep you here any longer. But do me a favor and really start thinking about what project you want to make. Because the next week I want to spend as much time as possible dedicated to working on our personal projects. That way you guys have me as a resource and you can be like, hey Greg, how do I do this? And I'll be right here and we'll have a whole week to work on it. So the closer we get to where we're working on our personal projects, the better off we're all going to be. So that's where I want to be.
How important is all this, in galvanizing, doing each step in galvanizing?
If you feel,
You said it wasn't that important, but then, you keep saying something about score and where we are.
I'm not grading you off the score.
So I just want to make sure,
Yeah, as a matter of fact, those grades, now that I think about it, I probably don't need to cut them out because they really don't matter. They're not going to be what determines if you graduate or not. What determines if you graduate is the rubric that Melissa sent me that says you need to have a presentation that's 3 to 5 minutes. Let me pull that up again. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that whenever I give more and more attention to that's all that there's.
This is all that matters.
I'm on.
See, the thing is that I didn't have this information until Thursday of last week. So when I was saying to work through the galvanized curriculum, that was just the information that I had at that time. When I touched base with Melissa and she was saying, hey, it seems like some of the vets are a little confused. What's going on? I said, I'm just following the curriculum unless you have some other sort of rubric to go off of. That's what I have been told to do. And she said, well, this is the rubric that I have, and that's when she sent me this. And I asked you guys, have any of you seen this? And you all said no. So that's when I said, okay, the curriculum doesn't matter as long as you guys understand HTML and you're able to kind of like start wiring things together, then that's what's important. The galvanized scores, these don't matter because these are correlated to like literally if I came in here and I submitted something like that, see, so now my grade is updated. Like that's, so I didn't do anything, right? So that this doesn't matter. Don't worry about this stuff. What I want you to focus on is understanding HTML. So
Just towards, now that we're getting towards the end, I'm trying to figure out what to focus my attention on, and it's basically the project.
yeah, focus on the project, yes. Thank you.
One of the things that I'm confused about, so like mostly everything, like I understand